Hey guys, welcome to the eating portion of our ministry here. This is the op corresponding to episode 4 of our podcast with Justin. And just before we get into it, I want to make sure that it's known that we're giving away all this food to somebody in need that doesn't have a ride to be able to go through these drive-through food pantries that we went to today. And so it's all going to get used, and it's all going to go to people in need. And that we went to 2 different drive-through food pantries today. Both of them had unique experiences and definitely had a lot of variety going on. One thing that we are missing from this haul is the government cans, as they call them. That's if they ask if you're on government assistance, they ask if you make a certain amount of income, and if you do, if you're on that assistance or you're at a certain threshold, then they provide you with additional cans of food. But that's not going to be here because I was honest with them. And so here we go. Haul number 1 from the first food pantry that we went to today. And it's pretty interesting spread here. Justin's kind of already spread it out. As you can see, I hope you guys can see everything. We'll show you the labels and stuff of what we got. But he's kind of help us break it down. Certified nutritionist here from the podcast. If you guys want to get to know him a little more, you can check that out. But we're gonna go through how he broke this down and what he thinks about it. I got a couple questions for him while we talk about it. So go ahead, Justin. What do you think?
Okay. So we kind of separate them off of the base, each macronutrient. So macronutrient is what classify as your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. So this section from here over is going to be your carbohydrates. This is going to be our protein section, and this is going to classify as our fats. Some of these are going to have some crossover between them, but like predominantly they're in their own each category.
Okay, gotcha. So initial look, this is supposed to be something to help someone in need over the course of a week. So I'm just asking you, do you think you could live off of this for a week?
I mean, calorie-wise, yes. I mean, there's definitely some missing gaps that would help someone a little bit more live off of it a week. Obviously, very carb heavy.
Okay.
But there are some missing items that I would add.
So what's missing completely?
I mean, I should say missing, but I would say adding more. Like the protein section is a little bit limited on for someone to last a week. I mean, like with a pound of ground beef,
Gotcha.
a couple chicken breasts, things like that. Like that's not going to last someone too long.
Yeah. So this stuff's frozen. I mean, it's been frozen for over a month. So I guess most efficient protein. But as far as quality, what do you think? Seeing some of the stuff, I mean, I'm seeing instant potato flakes, instant mashed potato flakes. I'm seeing frozen meats, just one bag of avocados. I mean, what's quality of food? What do you think?
I think overall, it's pretty good. I mean, potatoes are very good. Those are things that I recommend a lot to my clients. I mean, potatoes are very filling. You do get a lot of starches, fiber, things like that. Strawberries are great because of the micronutrients that you get from it with vitamins. Also a ton of fiber, which helps with digestion. Rice as well. Can't ever go wrong with rice. Mm-hmm. It's kind of having 2 different potatoes between an instant and mash. Maybe it's a little bit easier, but obviously you also got your tomatoes as well that kind of help, and then with some canned vegetables. So you definitely have a good blend of micronutrients mixed in with your full starches like your rice and your carbs or your potatoes.
Gotcha. Okay, so as far as 1 to 10, 10 being, I guess, freshly picked off the vine in an organic field somewhere that's been, whatever, the highest quality you can think of food, versus 1 being, I don't know, McDonald's trash can kind of stuff or something. Yeah. Somewhere where if you're eating that, it's like you're at the bottom of what quality of food. Where do you rate this haul, you think?
I mean, I'd give it a 6.
Okay.
Probably a 6.
Gotcha.
I mean, because for the most part, you have, this is whole foods. Tomatoes are whole foods, rice are whole foods. The cans, obviously, those are great for long lasting. Obviously, we got the sweet tooth over here. Maybe not the best for you diet wise, but obviously it tastes great. But even the avocados, this is probably one of my favorite things to see. I'm actually a little surprised to see that because that's just loaded with a lot of nutrients in that.
Okay. And so how would you modify this? Maybe just let's start with slightly to improve it a lot, I guess, if you can, like, some slight modifications that would make the most impact here before we talk about maybe any kind of major impacts. What would you change to be improving?
I would probably maybe not double down on the desserts.
Okay.
Then it depends on the size of the family, but
Yeah.
I mean, all those as great as they taste. You're talking to a cookie fanatic here. Those are definitely loaded with a lot of added sugar, processed food, so it's going to help. Doesn't really help with someone's health, but so I probably wouldn't double down on that. That's probably where I would start.
Okay. All right. And then as far as a major change, if you had to shift this to make it best for someone, that's just trying to make it week by week, paycheck to paycheck kind of situation, what would kind of boost the most nutrition here?
I would say protein. Protein is the number one thing that everyone can eat, no matter your age. I don't care if you're 80 or if you're a toddler. I mean, protein is the most important micronutrient or macronutrient that you can eat.
Are you talking about doubling this, tripling that?
I mean, let's just say for sake of it's a family of two.
Well, this is so I told him it was a family of four.
Oh, family of four.
Family of four. So yeah, this is.
Yeah, the protein would significantly need to increase. I mean, at this rate, you're not even eating the required or the recommended RDA amount that's required for the government to have to maintain your health, basically. So you're not having any nutrient deficiencies.
So like twice this much, 3 times this much?
I would say 3 times.
3 times. Okay, so 3x that. And then as far as carbs go, as far as, any of this other stuff, I mean, I'm sure water's not really accurately kind of depicted there. That's just in case, But what do you think about any of this other stuff?
And the potatoes and the rice, that will last a family of 4 for a week. Between those, that should. And then you also have the backup of the instant mashed potatoes if they're in a quick little hurry. For the carb side, this should last them almost probably a week, almost.
Okay.
And that's being made up from the potatoes and the rice mostly.
Okay, so I guess the last, most important question here is, if this is what you had to sustain you, like if you're going to the food bank because you don't have enough to go to the grocery store and get anything else to kind of supplement this, are you going to be able to live a life where you don't run into health issues as a family of 4 by eating this?
No, you'll eventually you will have health issues.
Eventually, as far as like, I mean, if we're running just this, how long until you think you hit something?
I mean, honestly, depending
it's hard to
I mean, depending on their lifestyle that they have already currently, where they're, living, exercising, things like that. I mean, the proteins. That's what scares me the most is the protein. Like it does not take much for you to have like health issues with illnesses, hair loss, skin issues due to a lack of protein in your body.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay. So definitely a lot of protein needed to increase, maybe cut some sweets. But outside of that, so if we wanted to kind of modify this, it would just be taking the money that's spent on the sweets, putting it into the proteins, and this would kind of get you through a lot better.
Yes. You would have to, you still have to do some rationing. Like no one's going to be where their optimal level is, like for where they should be for calorie wise. Okay. But, because at this point with a family of 4, you're probably still going to be significantly under eating on what you should be eating as far as like energy wise, like calories,
right,
proteins and stuff. But this would be okay.
Okay. Welcome to the second haul of the food pantries we went to today. This is all today, by the way. This is all stuff that was given to us today, despite what it looks like, especially these bananas here. All right. So Justin's here to analyze this one as well. And just kind of first looks, what do you think?
It's definitely different than the first one. It's still heavy carb based. This one has a little bit more protein, but there's definitely some differences. Some good and some better.
Okay. And
or worse.
Can you live on this for a week, do you think? I mean, is this something that would sustain a family of 4?
If you're eating, not if you're eating 3 meals a day.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so what do you see? What's missing? What's supposed to be here that's not?
This one has, at least a little bit more protein compared to the first pantry, which is nice. Better meat options like the leaner beef, which is nice, so it's less fat, more micronutrients like iron and things like that. Obviously some breakfast things for the go. So it definitely has a little bit more heavy on the protein. The carbs, this one, they really double down on the sweets. So
Yeah.
all the extra sugar, processed foods, things like that. But there's kind of missing some items to kind of put together some of these meals to kind of make full meals out of it.
Yeah, okay. So we were kind of noticing we got spaghetti, no sauce, nothing to really. Now there is a certain element of, being good at being poor, like making meals
Yeah.
that you can stretch, or making meals like there's certain things that you can do in poverty to kind of get better at making things extend. Of course, that's a different video, but it's one of those things where it's kind of jumbled up. It's kind of pieced together of like, hey, this is all stuff that we can give to you, but it doesn't really make sense. I can see that here. So then, how do you feel about the quality of this one? What do you think as far as 1 to 10, as far as like just noticing things?
I'm still gonna lean towards a 6.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 7 on this one. And that's mostly just because of the higher protein in this one.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give it at least a little bit more than the first one.
All right, but I'm going to push back a little bit. This one does have a couple open packages,
Yes. Okay.
which I don't.
That's a good point. Good
I
point.
don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just open. That's
a good
the open. That's open, and then this thing's open. I mean, there's a couple things that I don't know if when they were loading it, that it was just kind of one of those things that happened, or if this is something that's coming out of the bins and nobody just really recognizes what's getting put in there. But yeah, so a 6, maybe a 5 if we count those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Might lose a point for that one.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. And so what would you change here? What would you improve? If you're trying to give a family something to live on for a week, I mean, I'm sure you're going to say, cut these out, right?
Not completely. But
Not completely, but maybe
limit it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. What else would you kind of add in here? Because I'm not seeing avocados on this one. I'm not seeing as much produce, really. I mean,
Correct.
This is what we got.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would definitely add more like healthier or better, more filling carbohydrate sources like potatoes, like we had in the first one.
Okay.
Those are very filling. Rice, very filling as well. And like you just said, there's not a lot of micronutrient stuff that you get from like the fruits and the vegetables and things like that. I mean, we got spinach, which is good, but that's a meal for a family of 4.
Yeah.
But so there's definitely some missing on the micronutrients and the produce part, like the fruits and the vegetables.
Gotcha. Yeah. So this is just, I guess they have some things in canned, right? Sweet corn and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not anything. I mean, understanding that this is donation stuff. This isn't stuff that's going to be on the shelves for people to buy. This is stuff that's been gifted. And so it's a little, we expect some kind of lower quality that happens. So that being said, is this pantry, is it giving enough food to where you're not going to run into health issues? Is it giving the right kind of macros to make sure that if this is the only place you're going to, that you're going to be okay?
I would think you'd have compared to the first one, this one would have better nutrients that you can get out of it.
Okay.
And like I said, going back to the protein. The protein is the most important macronutrient that anyone can eat.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay. So, and then I guess improving it. So you would cut this back, put the produce in. Is there anything else? I didn't really ask you besides expanding that. I mean, I'll ask the same question again. 2x this for a family of 4, 3x that?
I would say 3x.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because let's just say the minimum should be a minimum of like 100 grams of protein a day. I mean, there's not even 100 grams of protein in that one package right there. It's like you'd have to at least 3x that, at least.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so I guess what we've noticed is that it's a lot of stuff to kind of fill your belly, but not so much as far as the right amount of stuff in each category.
Right.
It doesn't really seem like, there's nothing that we've noticed that's been completely deficient though.
No.
Right? Like at least there's some protein there, right? At least there's some carbs, some vegetables going on. Like it seems like there's been some kind of effort to cover all the bases.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But just not at the levels that need to be covered.
Right. Because a lot of these stuffs aren't very nutrient dense. Like if you take that corner over there with all the sweets, like those taste great, they're high in calories, but you eat 4 of those cupcakes, a row of those cupcakes, you're going to be hungry in 20 minutes because they're not very filling.
Okay.
So I guess that's the thing, you kind of want to pick these foods that's going to make you more filling. Like protein's the most satiating thing that you can eat, so it's going to make you full longer, and so that way you don't have to really feel like you're hungry again.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm noticing that it's a lot of stuff, but it's not really ingredients to, like, you don't have like an olive oil in here or something that you can cook with, or butter, or something that you're kind of making meals out of. And so it's interesting that when it comes to food pantries, they're just trying to get you whatever you can eat in that moment. It's not something where they're trying to set your pantry up or trying to give. And it would be kind of cool if they offered maybe some, like a separate box, maybe not a weekly thing, but just something where they could give you the means to be able to produce your own. Stuff like that. I mean, it would just be interesting to see maybe some efforts in that. But yeah, man.
I mean, even for me, that's kind of been eye-opening seeing this, like seeing two different food banks is like, now what could I help donate to the food bank that's missing? Now that I see what's missing, where the missing gaps are. Now, like you said, olive oil.
Yeah.
That's something that lasts a very long time. Mm-hmm. It's great to cook with, and it's also very healthy for you. It's very healthy fats, great for your health or your heart, your mind. Like those are the kind of missing things that, like I said, I wouldn't think about until seeing something like this on a larger scale.
Yeah, there's like no seasonings here. There's nothing that kind of facilitates you doing this at home, or even like kind of, we talked about it on the podcast a little bit, but if you're homeless, both of these were drive-through kind of spots, so you have a car, they don't think that you're homeless where you can't cook that stuff. So I understand them doing some frozen things, like they expect you to have a fridge in this food pantry, sure. But as far as if you're down bad, like if you're struggling, can you make all this work if you have a home but no electricity, or something like that? We see those differences there, where maybe this stuff would get thrown out, it would get wasted because it's going to a home without that. So just be thinking about that, maybe having a section where, hey, this is only dried goods because we know your situation, or if you're homeless, obviously we don't want to give you something that's not going to last the night in your situation. So none of that stuff was covered, none of that stuff was asked, because I'm driving up in a car, of course. But it's just something to think about. I hope this kind of opens people's eyes a little bit, even if it's in a small scale. I mean, this is only 2 trips here, but it is something that kind of, just thinking about, all right, what would I bring? I'd probably, based on your suggestions, I'm bringing 30 cans of tuna, like something where anybody can pop open the protein.
It's still not perishable, so you don't really worry about it. It's for refrigerator, things like that.
Yeah. Just want to say thank you, Justin, for coming in
having me, man.
and checking this out and giving us your analysis. So I appreciate it, man. It's eye-opening.
Yeah, no, definitely. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed Justin's take on the haul today. I just wanted to give my thoughts, some of the pros and cons that I saw. For pros, I'd say that the volume of food was impressive today, and I thought the process to get in there and get out of there very smooth. I really enjoyed that there was no shame. There was not like any kind of pressure on me. But I'd say there was a lot of cons too. Mainly being that there was no further ministry offered. There was no like prayer at the end of the line that was like somebody ready in case you had something on your heart, or pastoral counseling, financial education, those kind of things where if somebody's coming to the doors of the church, you kind of want to be there for them in a more complete way. There was no database, and so somebody could, I went to the food pantries back to back. It wasn't like it was an issue that I could, keep doing that. So I guess wanted to point that out, that's a vulnerability in there. And honestly, I kind of expected some pushback on this. I didn't qualify for government aid, and so I thought that maybe I wasn't going to be able to be helped, since I'm not somebody that needs the help. But that wasn't the case. There was actually some nice cars in the line to wait for this food pantry. So I just don't think, I understand helping people without asking, but at the same time, we have to, be aware if the people we're helping really need the help, if they actually need the relief. And I don't think I was one of those. Maybe I should be put on a different list where I can only come a certain amount of time, but nobody told me that. It was, I could be there just as much as anybody else. And I don't think that should be a case. And so just some issues there that can be fixed up. And that's kind of, my final thoughts for you guys are, they need givers. They need people that donate to these places. They need protein. They need, more healthy food for the people in need. They need volunteers, guys. I mean, almost everybody I saw was 55 and up at these places. Like us young people got to step up and help our community as well. And then those church leaders out there that maybe watch this, hey, this is to help us do better for the Lord, to love God with our mind in a more efficient way. And so I just encourage you guys to take this to heart in whichever way this hits you, that you could take a bite of the elephant in your life in that way, and we could serve God in a more effective way. I also want to say thank you to Justin. His details are in the description if you guys want a nutritionist in your life. And please like and share so this video gets around so it could be more effective to those in need. And we're going to go give this food to the person we have in mind to help. So see you guys later. Thanks for watching.